Okay, this is the intro for the podcast.
Woo, we ready for this one? You already got the drink out.
Yeah, I had to for this episode.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Silver Screen Fiends podcast. I'm your host Sam.
And I'm Blake.
And we're coming back at you with another cruddy Christmas special. And there are actually no words that can describe what we're about to discuss today. But before we get into that, we hope everyone had a nice holiday. Blake, what did you get to do?
I visited family, watched some movies, and that's pretty much it. It was pretty chill holidays for me. That's how I like it.
Did you get socks?
I got coal.
Hell yeah. Well, my holiday was nice as well. I did not go to two of my bigger family parties because, I mean, do I even need to say why? So I decided I was just going to hang at home and then go to my grandma's for a little bit. But I got a really fucking cool cocktail maker. It's like a Keurig. You ever see these things? It's
I
like,
think I have.
Yeah, it's
and they look awesome.
Yeah, this one's Black & Decker. It's basically just a big Keurig. The bitch of it though is like you have to put like the corresponding liquor bottles to whatever capsule you put in, and like depending on the drink strength, it'll just suck out the liquor. Like a dumbass, I switched it to like really high. I made an old fashioned and a LIT. I switched it to high and just kept like sucking out tequila for the LIT. I'm just like, they're not fucking kidding with that drink setting.
Yeah, it makes them strong.
Yeah, but it was that's gotta be one of the coolest gifts I've ever received. So yeah,
that sounds awesome.
So I had a nice holiday. Drowned myself in Nog. And also partook in some Christmas favorites. I rewatched Muppet Christmas Carol. I actually showed a few friends. Now, have you seen the new version with the newly restored song they cut, When Love Is Gone?
I heard about it. I watched Muppet Christmas Carol this year before I knew that they did anything. So I guess I did, and I probably just didn't even notice that there was something extra, but I heard about that the other day, and I was like, oh, I just watched that. I guess I didn't even notice.
Yeah, it was... Holy shit, I can see why they cut it from the movie, because that song is fucking dark. It's like basically Ebenezer's fiance saying, you legit don't love me and I'm moving on. And it's just like... which is hysterical, because for a movie about a Christmas Carol, like that's even darker than the themes. It's like too real. We don't need that for the kids in there, you know?
Yeah.
That's too much. But yeah, then I watched all my regular specials like Grinch and Jingle All the Way. I'm trying to think of what else I watched. I did watch that new Christmas Story, which is just called A Christmas Story.
I haven't watched it.
It's whatever. I mean, I think we all can agree that A Christmas Story is just like, it's one of those traditions that's so fucking overdone that you almost never want to actually put it on. It just happens to be on your relative's TV looping around the holiday season.
Well, I don't remember which channel. One of the TV channels shows it on 24-hour loop during Christmas. I don't remember which one.
Yeah, they basically hate people, but it's and you always seem to always catch like the iconic scenes, like the lamp and him getting his fucking tongue stuck to the pole.
Yeah.
So
you know what's good? One thing about it is it's a very short movie.
Yeah, that's true.
The original. Yeah.
But yeah, it was so wild seeing Billingsley basically still look like a kid. It's his face like barely changed. I don't know. I wouldn't say it was dog shit, but you know, this next movie though. Oh man, it's a stinker. So in years past, we would usually sit down and gather some of our favorite Christmas movies and talk about them. This year, we decided to just pick one at random, watch it, and talk about
ourselves.
it. And I saw this movie and did not even hesitate on pitching it to Blake because it is an adaptation of the Nutcracker that had Nathan Lane and John Turturro in it, and I was like, I'm sold. And I think I saw it had a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, you know me, I don't go by Rotten Tomatoes, but to see that and to see those two in it, I absolutely need to watch this. So what's funny is it seems like most adaptations of the Nutcracker story never really seem to get it right. Like they always like try to do something unique with it, and then it's not as faithful, or they try to like be too faithful and still fuck up the tone of it. But like this one just completely misses the mark of it all. The weirdest part is like, so it was marketed as the Nutcracker in 3D, which piqued my interest even more. But it's actually called Nutcracker: The Untold Story. And it's a story that should have never been told because
it should have remained untold.
It should have remained untold. This movie had a budget of $90 million fucking dollars, which unfortunately, as disgustingly stupid as the film is, you can kind of see, even if the effects aren't great, that it did unfortunately get a budget.
Yeah.
And I hate that. But God, there's so much to unwrap here. I want to wrap it back up. But so this movie stars Ellie Fanning as Mary, a young girl, much like the traditional story, living in 1920s Vienna, and naturally it's Christmas time. And she lives with her parents and her younger brother Mark. I was thinking of my father. She's upset because it's Christmas and her parents are ditching her to go to a party because her mom's got to be a prima donna and sing, at the ball. So she wants everyone to be together. And listen, I don't blame her. I would just want my gifts. I don't give a fuck if you're just be back by 6 a.m. I don't give a shit. But and then her brother burns an ornament, which they had to include for some reason. Now we already get to the best part of the whole movie. So their uncle Albert arrives. This character is played by Nathan Lane. I need to know who blackmailed him for this. For some reason, and as far as I know, and I'd be willing to bet any amount of money that I'm correct in this assumption, in any iteration of the Nutcracker, there's never been any implication that there's been Albert Einstein living in that universe. Like, am I wrong in that assessment? But for some fucking reason, they were like, you know what this movie could use? A reference to Albert Einstein. So they dress up Nathan Lane with like a Don King wig. And boy,
he does look like Don King. That's a very good description.
And boy, what a shame to put Nathan Lane, who is one of my favorite modern mainstream Broadway stars. He's a musical genius. I mean, I love him in pretty much everything, but even in this, it's like, how did he sign off on this? It's like, I'm Albert Einstein in a Nutcracker adaptation. And they treat the audience like they're dumb. It's like they heavily imply, but it's like, we know what you're trying to do. Like, this is in Vienna.
Albert.
Like, your name's Albert. It's in Vienna. Then when he comes and gives the Nutcracker doll, nicknamed NC, which, by the way, is like the laziest attempt at giving something a nickname, right? Yeah. Like, you just gave him the initials NC.
NC.
But yeah, Mary falls in love with this doll for whatever reason, because it's creepy. And then Albert decides to sing a song about the theory of relativity set to the theme of the Nutcracker. Okay, when the Nutcracker Suite, the entire thing was originally composed, they did not have lyrics in mind. This movie said, hey, fuck that completely. and we're gonna set lyrics to half of these songs. So they take the
Albert Einstein theme.
like they make the like there is so much wrong with what's going on here. They first of all I forget the original author of the Nutcracker, like the original story, but totally turning in his grave right now. Second of all, they have this Nutcracker theme with lyrics, which just doesn't work. But then you decide for arguably one of the most important songs and a pivotal moment in explaining like freedom and whatnot, you're gonna have Albert Einstein sing about the theory of relativity. Does this make any sense?
This is a Christmas movie, by the way. If you couldn't tell from the description, because you genuinely might not be able to.
Well, that's the funniest part is nothing other than this movie taking place around Christmas. There is nothing in this movie that signifies it's Christmas. Like it's like they just basically all the themes and decoration and whatever is just stuck in the background while you're forced to watch piss poor performances by everyone, you know. and like I get that, you know, there's child actors in this, and sometimes you gotta cut a child actor some slack. But man, it just seems like there were so many scenes in this movie that they knew the actor fucked up or could have done better and said, nah, just keep rolling. Like
first take only.
It's just the delivery. The dialogue is poorly written and bad enough on its own merits, but like the fact that they couldn't even deliver the lines makes it 10 times worse. But yeah, so he gives them this Nutcracker, and they're doing the theory of relativity. And what I absolutely love about this is towards the end of the song, they end up in their bedroom, and Max and Mary just end up spazzing out doing a dance that I don't even know what they were doing. They look like monkeys. And why was Max spanking his ass? Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Why are you having a little kid spank his ass to the theory of relativity set to the Nutcracker theme? What do you...
It's funny because, like, just describing what is happening in the movie is so fucking funny when you just think about what you're actually saying. And then think about that this is a real movie.
By the way, this is the first not even 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, we're only just getting started.
We are only getting started. So later that night, of course, we all saw this coming. That creepy-ass Nutcracker comes to life. And if that wasn't bad enough, he grows to human height. So now he is the scale of Mary. And I don't know what they were thinking with the character design of the Nutcracker, because it has to be one of the worst Christmas-themed nightmare fuel I've ever seen. Like,
it also doesn't look like a Nutcracker.
It also doesn't look like a Nutcracker. You know what it looks like? It looks like if Pinocchio and Terrence and Phillip had an orgy and had a kid.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't like with a Napoleon hat. Like what?
Yeah.
There's no, the lack of consistency in all of this is mind-boggling, right? Like, because I understand taking source material and doing and flavoring it your own. A perfect example. I don't know if you watched this. I actually watched the Del Toro Pinocchio recently, which I thought,
I'm dying to see it,
which was fucking phenomenal. I think he did an amazing job. The animation was beautiful. I would actually say the music was probably the weakest part, but not the point. The movie was great, but Del Toro understood, like, because this was his passion project. He understood what it means to take source material and not only keep it faithful, but then make it your own. It seems like whoever directed this, I think, didn't the same guy who did like Turner and Hooch direct this or some shit? I don't even
trying to look, and I literally could not find a single other movie he did that I recognized.
Or Turner, Hooch, or Tango and Cash, one of those T and whatever movies. I don't know, but I remember reading that and I was like, oh, it was also his passion project, huh? Well, I have to passionately tell him it was horrible then. So then in another scene of just brilliant acting, the maid comes in after hearing a ruckus, and the absolute filth that spews from Mary's mouth is hysterical. She's like, maid's like, what's going on in here? My pillow spontaneously combusted. Like, I know how stupid things kids say can sound, but that is unbelievable coming from a child. Like, that's not even, and keep in mind, it's not that Mary's not like 3 years old, right?
Yeah.
Like what is she, like 13, 12, 11? I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Somewhere in that age range. So you really think they're gonna buy that story? But the best part is the maid's like, oh, okay. And it's like, what? And then they throw in like a sexual innuendo. She wants to tell Mary about this time this old guy was like trying to fuck her. I'm like, what do you push her out of the fucking room? Like, oh man, this was one of the most painful scenes to watch.
And that's saying something.
And that's saying something because it gets a lot worse than this. So, NC, God, I fucking hate that name. Says he must talk to his friends in the dollhouse. Which, so when Albert fucking Einstein first delivers this dollhouse, it has like a group of these characters in it, and he kind of breaks down who they are, and what a shock. This ends up being the characters that come to life in the dollhouse. So they pull some Alice in Wonderland shit, and they go through the sitting room, which is now like super big to them, and you see these toys that are now the same height and equally as creepy. We have a chimpanzee.
The animation is not great.
No, it's not. We have a chimpanzee who's just, for some reason, in a business suit. We have an opera singer, a clown, fatty, who's like basically Pagliacci, right? Like when they come in, he's like singing a sad song because like his food dropped or something. I don't even remember. And then a drummer boy named Sticks.
Hell yeah,
Sticks. Gail, I don't even. There's nothing else to even comment with this because I don't even know what they were thinking with doing anything in this movie. But after that wonderful introduction they all have, they meet the snow fairy who looks a lot like Mary's mother. I wonder why that is. She then proceeds to tell Mary that NC is actually not a nutcracker. He's a prince who got cursed, and his kingdom got taken over by the Rat King, who is an anthropomorphic rat hybrid.
This is my favorite character in the movie.
Played by John Turturro. If you were wondering earlier who John Turturro is in this movie, he is the Rat King, and boy, that is hysterical casting. For no other reason than obviously this movie is so tonally all over the place that they had to pick somebody like so neutral but still had a name in Hollywood. Like, I wonder how much money he accepted for this, because
we could probably find it and look it up.
Yeah, you know what? I want to see how much did John Turturro get paid for the Nutcracker. I hope I get an answer to this. Holy shit. Okay, wait. Filmmaker work. I did get a headline. Filmmaker works 40 years to make Nutcracker 3D. No way.
There's no way.
No, that can't
I
be.
hope that's not true.
The Russians, by bringing it out 3D, this whole changed the set. Oh my god, I think this might be true. Oh no! Wait, I need to know, like, how much did Turturro get for this one? I need to know how much money he got for this. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we can figure this out. But anyway, yeah, so he's the Rat King. And all the rats in this movie are just... they look like a TikTok filter. Like it's just like
they look like the Who's from the Grinch.
they do look like the Who's. And I don't know, like, I feel like that was intentional. Like, maybe they were just, hey, bro, we need the designs of the rats. Oh, okay, I just watched The Grinch. Maybe we'll do that.
Use that.
Yeah. And then, because, like, this apparently had to be a psycho story, there's also a rat queen, but is his mother. So, like, the dynamic there is, okay, is like, I don't even want to touch that. But you find out she's the one who was able to turn NC into a nutcracker. And then they cut back to them and they once again set lyrics to the Nutcracker ballad. It just doesn't work at all. And then she just somehow, after touching his hand a little bit, turns NC back into a boy. Because she believed, like, there's so much non-explanation for everything that happens in this film. Is like,
the other thing also, by the way, worth mentioning many times is, let's not forget that the Rat King and the rats in this movie are Nazis. They're Nazi rats.
Oh, I was getting to that. Yeah,
I was hoping that, because it needs to be said.
Oh yeah. And
they're not just rats.
No, and they are not shy about that imagery. They go fucking hard with it. And when we get to, like, towards the end, I'll explain, like, where I was like, what the fuck were they thinking? But yeah, so he turns back into a boy temporarily, which is the biggest bullshit ever. Like, even in a kids movie, I'm like, how do you explain this? And then they decide they're just gonna dance real quick. Okay. And then just like a bootleg Epcot cast of characters just circle the tree and dance for absolutely no reason at all. And then NC takes Mary to the top and they could see his city. And then, because I remember this in the Nutcracker, a giant erect metallic ship just bursts from the ground and Nazi rats pour out of it. And it turns out that the Rat King is not... Who knew that the Nazi rat wasn't a good guy? Because this whole time he's been oppressing NC's people and forcing them to work in factories. Which is this is even stupider because he's doing this so that dark clouds can form and block out sunlight, which he is afraid of. So, like, let's just chill for a second, take a step back, and reevaluate this. So, most movies, not even just Christmas films, I am usually okay with the antagonist's nefarious plot, but he's doing this to block sunlight. Like, it's so stupid. It's not even to, like, conjure up some fucking weird rat demon or something. It's because he's afraid of the sun.
Once again, this is supposed to be an adaptation of the Nutcracker. Let's keep that in mind here.
Yeah, I just oh, but I love when they cut to the Rat King and he's in his lair or factory or whatever, and they bring in that guy and they start threatening him. They straight up rip the scene from The Dark Knight where the Joker goes, "Wanna see a magic trick?" and slams the guy's head into the table. Turturro literally says, "Wanna see a magic trick?" Takes the guy's head, smashes it into a table with, how fitting, nuts, and cracks them. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me right now. So far in this movie, we've had Albert Einstein, we've had Nazi rats, and we had a direct reference from The Dark Knight. What on earth is happening here?
If they were going for funny, this movie would be fucking hilarious, but they're not. That's the problem.
I know.
This is all played serious.
I know, and I had that exact thought because right after that happens, the Nazis break out into a dancing number, which made me think like Mel Brooks must have directed this, but no, because it's a bad movie and it's not a straight for laughs comedy. Oh yeah, and then decides to just kill a fucking shark for absolutely no reason.
Yeah,
like what on earth? What on earth were you proving by doing that? That you're just, bro, like it's so stupid. I think I need a breather. Yeah, so I really hope Turturro got like, I would hate to find out he accepted like 50 grand for this role.
Oh my god, imagine.
Well, I wonder what Turturro was doing at the time. Maybe he was just desperate for work.
Could be. Maybe he wanted like a new pool in his house or something, and he was like, "All right, I'll do this."
Yeah, and he gets a fucking piece of paper, and he's like, "A Nutcracker 3D, honey, we're getting that pool." Just like fuck all, and then he sees it, and then he's like, "What have I done?"
It's like the pool wasn't worth it.
The pool was not worth it.
I'm trying to see what else he was doing around this time. This is the only movie he made in 2010. The previous year he was in a Transformers movie, and the next year he was in Cars 2 and another Transformers movie. So those are humongous budget movies that he probably got paid a lot for. So like, why did he do this movie?
I'm telling you, that pool, man. I just like the idea of John Turturro and Nathan Lane working together too is so funny to me. Like, yeah, I don't even.
This is what we got.
But I feel like they probably didn't even see each other on the set.
Yeah,
like it's because they're not in scenes together. Oh, another thing that they decide to do is they make Albert like kind of the pseudo narrator. Like he just breaks the fourth wall randomly throughout the movie, like with no rhyme or reason.
Remember that this is Albert Einstein we're talking about.
Yeah, and this is Albert Einstein. I can. How were you? Who was in that meeting when they were like, "All right, here's my vision for the film." So we have Albert Einstein. Wait, excuse me? No. Trust me. We have Albert Einstein give a dollhouse. How did nobody in that room be like, why? Where does he fit into this?
Excuse me, did you say Albert Einstein? Am I hearing this correctly?
Yeah. Upon reflection, I think it could work for this Christmas movie. So, Mary suggests that they destroy the factories. But little do they know that two of the Rat King's little spies were actually stalking them and report back to the Rat King and the Rat Queen that he somehow turned back into a boy. So the Rat Queen proceeds to get shit-faced, and that somehow turns NC back into the Nutcracker. I don't even know what that potion was. It was very odd. And her eyes, the whole scene, I was like, is this like, this is, you know how there's horror movies that try so hard to create a character that's like sinister or creepy? Like they did this unintentionally in this film.
Yeah.
Like this
there's a lot of horrific special effects in this.
Yeah. And then like this pack of robotic Rottweilers just cut the tree down. And then this is when Mary just suddenly wakes up in her own bed and runs downstairs. She's like, "Where's NC? I gotta get him." And the parents are like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, what?" And then she proceeds to courage the cowardly dog an explanation out of her ass. And the parents are like, "We do not believe you." And I do not blame them for not believing her, because that sounds fucking crazy. And then they decide, you know what? We're going to blame Albert for this. Because he's the one who gave my daughter this Nutcracker. So the father wants to speak to the uncle alone, and demands he stays out of the children's lives, which is just like, again, like when I was saying earlier, there's really no rhyme or reason when it comes to like these scenes, nor are they fleshed out. Like, she comes downstairs and is just riled up about a nutcracker from a bad dream, and the father's immediate instinct was, got it, I'll divorce my uncle from the family. That's perfect. Like,
my uncle Albert Einstein.
Right, like, there wasn't even, if there was a scene in the middle of like, it may be like a real psychotic breakdown or something, and then he talks to the uncle, I can maybe understand that. But then Albert just takes all of this in and then decides to respond by singing about the dad's childhood and how he had a prized pebble, because he's like, you know something, you were once a kid. And then just, and of course they were like, it was a pebble. You know, they couldn't have been like a wooden car or something. It was like, it was a pebble. And then this is meant to invoke some half-assed emotion out of him and wakes him up to the reality that he grew up and didn't give a fuck, similar to the other 7 billion people on this planet. And then this like makes him open up his eyes more. And then, by the way, nothing comes of that. They like, this isn't like, there's no like big redemption at the end where he like apologizes to the family or Mary, or there's no heartwarming resolution. It like, they just use this as, it's not even a plot device. It's just like, oh, I guess he's gonna somehow remain in their life, so we'll have the father cry over a pebble real quick, and then that explains it. So sure enough, NC's back, baby, because we're not getting rid of him, even though I'm pretty sure in the original Nutcracker this is where it should just end anyway. But now we have this whole Nazi subplot. And he's
it's not even a subplot, it's the plot.
Right, that's true. Yeah. It's like he's trying to round up an army to fight a rat king, which you know,
will go, a Nazi.
Will go pretty well. Max is awoken and decides he's going to join the fight, even though it was made clear from the beginning of the movie that he loves to break toys. And they're kind of fighting on the side of toys, so that's interesting. Which again is like, it's such a piss poor plot device to explain how the Rat King like kind of sort of recruits him, but just ends up kidnapping him anyway. So yeah, NC gets kidnapped as well, but they find that all the toys are being held captive in the fireplace. And this is another awkward scene because they can never decide tonally what the Rat King is. It's like they pass him off as like this Nazi general guy, but then he's just like also silly, but then sometimes he's a bumbling buffoon. Like he's not smart at all. So like they don't know what this character is. So it's like even when the kids are introduced to him, Mary's like, I'm not afraid of you. And I'm like, I don't blame you. Like he's nothing. His mother is scarier than him. So after briefly tormenting them, he kidnaps the toys and lures Max back to the city because he likes to break toys and he's going to induct him into his Nazi regime. After this, Mary discovers that weird chimp guy, Galgood, I don't even remember the name, who somehow managed to escape. I don't know how. I guess they said, wow, you're a chimp in a suit. I guess you're free to go. And then they just decide to completely break the rules of the universe and find a portal to that city right in the house attic. And it's like, okay, how convenient. And they end up
just introduce portals to the story.
Yeah, they just introduce portals. So they don some disguises and they search the city. And this is where I was talking about earlier with this Nazi imagery. So now you see the center of the town where toys are being taken from children, everyone's crying, and there's like this big pile that they're gonna burn toys, which, mind you, the toys are alive. So
yes, this is the toy holocaust.
So the
not
fact,
an exaggeration,
right? So the fact you have these Nazi rats burning toys that are alive. Why did they do any of this? Why
did they allow this movie to be released?
I cannot imagine being in the cutting room of this film, seeing the final print of it, and being like, "Oh my god, beautiful, magnifico!" Bravo. It's and again, it's supposed to be a Christmas film, and it's supposed to be an adaptation of Nutcracker. We've just had none of that. There's none of that.
Zero.
This is like they had an idea for a movie similar in nature and decided we're gonna copy and paste the Nutcracker over it.
And the movie that they had in mind that was not the Nutcracker is the most insane thing you've ever heard in your entire life. The movie that the script that they actually adapted, they found on like a park bench somewhere, covered in like dirt and blood.
No, it's straight up. I hope that headline was false, that this guy worked on this movie for 40 years.
I hope so too.
I truly hope so. God, can you imagine an alternate reality where this became like a fucking cult classic?
There's still time.
It's
only 2010.
Oh shit, that's a good point you make. If I'm ever mad at my future children, I'm gonna make them watch this.
This is a punishment.
So now Max realizes like the severity of this. He's like, hey, maybe I don't want to be associated with Nazis. And he is like, I want to go home. Rat King decides, no. Oh yeah, and the best part is they break out into another number for some reason, because they were like, you know what, maybe the Nazis burning alive toys in the town center was a little too harsh. Let's do a song and dance real quick.
Yeah.
So the Rat King decides, okay, Max is gonna stay in this castle with me. And then they sneak into one of the factories and just somehow stumble upon NC and the rest of the toys, which I love. It's just like there's never any explanation for any of this. It's just scene to scene to scene, the progression.
Wait, hold on. Just because we were talking about the like funding of this movie and everything, this is let me read a quote that I just found about this movie from a 2022 article. It says that the film was primarily financed by VEB.RF, a Russian state development corporation chaired by Vladimir Putin, and that it was the most expensive Russian film ever made.
No.
I wanted to look up what studio or whatever made this, and that is what I found.
You're telling me we just spent an hour talking about a Putin-funded movie?
Yep.
Oh my fucking god.
This movie was funded by Vladimir Putin.
About Nazis.
Yeah, about Nazi rats.
That's so much to unpack.
Absolutely incredible.
Holy fuck. Well, that's the end of the episode.
The movie also was a loss of over $73 million at the box office.
Yeah, no shit.
Oh my god. I cannot believe that this movie was funded by Vladimir Putin. That's incredible.
Vladimir Putin's The Nutcracker 3D. Oh man, that's insanity.
It also does say that the director said it was a dream project for over 20 years.
That is so sad. Holy shit.
But yeah, I just needed to interject with that fact because it was so mind-blowing to me that it needed to be included in here.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you did, because I wouldn't have even known. Now I need to look up all the trivia of this movie.
It's honestly kind of hard to find. There's not a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I remember trying to look up some stuff about it, and yeah, there really wasn't a lot, and I can't imagine why there's not a lot about this movie. Really puzzling.
Yeah, I wonder.
Yeah. So Mary rescues NC from being burned, alive by the Nazi rats, and tells him that she loves him, which then breaks the curse. Again, absolutely no rhyme or reason to this. Gets turned back into a boy permanently, and all the factory workers see their prince alive and are like, you know what? I guess this is a good enough time to retaliate. So they fight back against the rats, and they try to shut down the factory. And then no adaptation of the Nutcracker would be complete without the helicopter chase scene. So the Rat King and Queen decide to escape in a helicopter, and they kidnap the kids. But the monkey and the Nutcracker somehow board the helicopter, and they fight the Rat King in what is probably, sadly, the most exciting part of the movie, which is literally a 20-second struggle on top of a helicopter. And they manage to not completely crash land into a pile of toys. And in one of the most disturbing parts, and there's no, again, I know I've said this the whole podcast, but no explanation of this at all. Both the king and the queen just revert to rats and flee the city. Just that's it. The helicopter lands pretty safely into like a pillowy mound of toys, and they just escape as rats. No final confrontation, no nothing. That was it. So pretty much all for naught. But then, magically peace is restored to the kingdom. NC's crowned the king, and there's the most flowers I think I've ever seen in a film since Midsummer. And this is when Mary begins to wake up. The snow fairy's like, you gotta wake up. Your family's gonna miss you. She's like, I fucking hate my family. I want to stay here forever. I was like, I don't blame you. But before she leaves, and she's like, we'll meet again, wink. And then sure enough, Mary wakes up, and the parents give a seriously half-assed apology. And it's like, we'll spend more time with you. Which, by the way, there nothing other than them just not being present in the beginning of this movie even leads to this being the message of the film. It's like they could have set it up with 1 minute of exposition where they were just like, the parents are never around.
Nope.
No, but you know why they ruined that is because Albert Einstein had to walk through the door in that moment. That's why they wrote it out of the film. That's why.
I laugh every time we mention the fact that Albert Einstein's a character in this movie.
Played by Nathan Lane. I'm pretty sure this man has won an award in every major category across film, television, and Broadway, and he's Albert Einstein in the Nutcracker 3D.
So funny.
It's amazing. You can't write this. The director couldn't write this.
Literally.
So she goes downstairs, and Uncle Albert's just there, and introduces her to his new neighbor, who looks suspiciously like NC. Whoa, I can't believe it. Is it him? The audience gasped in wonderment and mystique, and then realized, who gives a fuck? Because all they do is go ice skating in what seems like the biggest disgrace of a set I've ever seen. And then the film just ends. That's it. That's the Nutcracker. Oh my God. Ugh. I don't know about you, but quality film.
That's a 10 out of 10 to me.
I think we were being a little too harsh on it.
It is definitely a movie. I'll give it that.
They made a movie. I hate.
They definitely made a movie.
I hate how big of a budget this film had.
Well, it didn't. It is one of the biggest flops of all time. So
good.
It didn't make it back.
Good. It just, man.
And it's the most expensive Russian film ever made.
I still cannot believe that. I still can't. What's the guy's name? Andrei Konchalovsky?
I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, what has he? Hang on,
he did make Tango and Cash. You were right.
Oh, Tango and Cash. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out which one of those he did. Which that is also hysterical to me.
Yeah.
Like what? I need to look up more trivia of this. There's not a lot, so we could just run through this real quick.
Yeah, it's actually difficult to find the facts about it, but the Wikipedia had better trivia than the IMDb. But even then, it's there. I feel like there's so much more behind the story of this movie that we're not seeing.
Ellie Fanning would later voice a character learning ballet to obtain the lead role in The Nutcracker in Leap 2016. The film does not credit the original Nutcracker and the Mouse King story, no shit, nor its author E.T.A. Hoffman. Probably a good idea. This is the only version of the Nutcracker with a 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. which, you know, is impressive because there's been bad Nutcracker adaptations. The
zero on Rotten Tomatoes is not easy to get, though.
Right. Like,
that is difficult to achieve.
Like, I think the last time I saw that was Bucky Larson.
Yeah, that's one of the other big ones.
So here's the one that just really sends it home for me. Uncle Albert was hinted throughout the movie to be famous scientist Albert Einstein, through references to relativity and even E=mc² appearing at one point. That is true. That is true. It was on the chalkboard. This would match up because Albert Einstein was alive at the time of the movie and lived in Germany, very close to Austria. Fun fact.
Oh, man.
During the scene where Mary first meets Styx, Tinker, and Gielgud, when they're all downstairs at the dollhouse and Styx appears to be spinning a drumstick with his fingers, he's actually not spinning it. Did you know this, Blake? He's actually not spinning it. He's just turning his hand so it looks like the drumstick is spinning. Why is this a trivia fact? Why is this all they could find?
Someone needs to write a book about this movie. Some journalist needs to go deep into the creation of this movie and write a book about it, because it connects to Vladimir Putin and Albert Einstein. It's got the stories there. They need to make like a movie about this movie. Yeah,
they do. The music for the songs in this film was adapted from the works of Peter Tchaikovsky, who composed the music for the ballet The Nutcracker. NC is both the initials of Prince Nicholas Charles and short for Nutcracker. Thank you, IMDb. Truly. Well, spoilers. Ellie Fanning's character in this movie is named Mary, which is actually her own real first name. Gasp. Ellie Fanning's first film of the 2010s and her last. Ooh, man. Fuck this movie. And the weirdest part is there are movies like this I've watched that still somehow manage to have like a weird childish charm to it, but like this just, who was this made for?
As soon as you throw in the Christmas toy Holocaust, it's hard to have the charm.
Oh, this movie was not made for children. Who was this made for? Putin.
This movie was made for people who've completely lost their mind.
I imagine there is a man who just spends Christmas alone every year in Russia who watches this movie.
In like a shack in like the wilderness in Russia.
Yeah, he's got like a tank top on with like a pot roast stain that he never cleans out. Just has his.
We watched Nutcracker.
Just has a big old bottle of kerosene vodka. Says, I'm going to watch the Nutcracker. And just
it's time.
and he has like the shitty paper 3D glasses, but he doesn't even have the 3D copy of the film. He just puts the glasses on.
I wish I could go to the theater and watch this in 3D.
Yeah, when is the re-release of this in theaters?
Where's the criterion for this? No, you know who needs to do this? Vinegar Syndrome needs to do this movie.
Is this even on physical media? I'm so curious.
You cannot rent it on Amazon, so I don't know. I don't think so.
Nutcracker. Let's see. Nutcracker, the Untold Story. Blu-ray. Wait, someone's selling it on eBay for $3. It's new and sealed. Buy it now.
Easiest purchase of the year.
I might honestly buy it. I need to do some deep dive.
It belongs in a museum.
I might do a video. I might do like a companion video review of this movie. This was a fever dream. I cannot believe this was real.
Like, next year we need to do like a live stream. Just watch this movie and riff on it.
That would actually be pretty great. Yeah, you can't. Let's see. This came out 2011, so a year later. Oh man. I get subtitles in Spanish too. All right. Perfect. I can't see why I wouldn't want this movie. Oh, this reminds me because I just saw a screenshot on Blu-ray.com of the Rat King peering through that fucking big steel door where Mary's trapped. What is up with the way their mouths open up and contort?
They're crazy looking.
I don't. You think Turturro still has one of those rat masks?
I think that after this movie, he went to the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind people to have it erased from his memory.
I actually heard that John Turturro method acted for this role. He lived like a rat for 6 months.
Like a Nazi rat.
He was like, I am a rat, but I also love Hitler.
Oh, man.
Ooh, this is surely been an experience, and you know what? In a fucked up way, I'm glad I watched it.
It has potential to be a cult classic. It
does. It absolutely does. And like you said, maybe in another 30 years.
Yeah, put this in front of the right people. This could be a cult classic because it's so insane.
Oh, man.
I was scrolling through the Letterboxd reviews, and one person mentioned, which is also really funny, is that this is technically a Christmas movie, and Albert Einstein was Jewish.
Oh, man.
This is the icing on the cake.
So that's even funnier to me because that means that they sat in that meeting room and were like, okay, here's a new revised script. I think you're really going to love what we did with it. Why is this guy Albert Einstein? Oh, it makes sense. They're in Vienna and he lived close to there. What did he celebrate Christmas? I don't know. We don't need to fact check that or anything. Let's just put him in the movie. Oh man, him being Jewish is hysterical.
Isn't that hilarious? I didn't even think of it.
Hello, children. It is your Jewish uncle Albert Einstein. Oh man. Okay, so I just glimpsed real quick at a review from Roger Ebert, and he writes, "From what dark night of the soul emerged the wretched idea for the Nutcracker in 3D? One of those rare holiday movies that may send children screaming under their seats." Oh man, true. Oh, fucking amazing. Who gave it a B+? Let's see.
I saw that one, and in that review, the B+ review, it's one of the only positive reviews the movie got, and the reviewer says that she thinks that the movie could be a cult classic the same way we're saying it.
Yeah, here's your cult-ready midnight movie program. Yeah. I'm gonna call it now. I think it's gonna be a cult classic. I think
it has the potential. It really does.
I really wonder Man, do you think I could just like put together a little documentary? You think I could reach out to all these people and just like put together a documentary?
Some of them might. I don't know if John Turturro wants to talk about this movie.
Probably not. Well, the director's 85 now, and he still lives in Russia.
All right, so he might talk about it.
Yeah, he might be down. He would probably just fucking send him this my way. I feel like he's got pull. I feel like he's friends with Putin. You think he's friends with Putin?
I mean, they funded the movie.
Yeah, I think so. Nathan Lane, though, I really need to know who blackmailed him. Who did this? Who did it? Well, the sad part is Nathan Lane probably saw it was the Nutcracker and was like, "Oh, I would love to do something like that," because he's a song and dance man. So it makes sense. But can you imagine getting that script and seeing a theory of relativity song in your Christmas story and just being like, you know what? I think this could be genius.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I would kill to be a fly on the wall during development of this film. Holy shit. Ooh. Okay. Well, I think I've exhausted this.
There's not much left to say.
There's not much left to say. Stay tuned for the book that we're going to publish. But
yeah,
the tell-all, the Nutcracker story. Oh, man. But despite all of this, it did not ruin my Christmas. I still had a happy holiday. It might have even enhanced it. It might have enhanced it, honestly.
It really might have.
That's why I started this podcast, to talk about shitty Nutcracker adaptations. This is why we do this. But yeah, we are quickly approaching the end of the year. So we will do a wrap-up show at some point. There's a few more films I have to watch that I still, unfortunately, have not seen that I definitely think are going to be in my top list.
Yeah, my end of the year list this year is thick with good movies. There was a lot of good movies this year.
Yeah, it's funny because it just goes to show like how time moves in such a weird way. I look at all these movies from this year, I'm like, oh my god, all of this was in the same year.
Yeah, like I looking through my list, like Jackass came out this year. I forgot that even came out this year.
Yeah, exactly. Wasn't that like February or March?
Yeah, February.
Yeah, but yeah, it was. Oh man, a lot of good shit. So I want to be able to like catch up. Like, you know, I still got to see Top Gun Maverick and Elvis. And,
yeah, you do need to see it. That's on Paramount Plus now.
Yeah. I'll probably just do that over the weekend. I'll ring in the new year with Top Gun.
You should.
Fuck yeah.
Top Gun Maverick was my number one for the most of the year until last week. But we'll talk about it on the wrap up episode.
Oh, we will talk about Norbit 2, baby. Well then, this has been the Silver Screen Fiends podcast. I'm your host, Sam.
And I'm Blake.
And we truly apologize for taking up your time.
We're so sorry for recording this.
Everyone stay safe. Have a happy new year.
Don't let the Nazi rats bite.
Don't let them bite. Otherwise, John Turturro gets a residual check.
Built to last, they will think you're small. Never mind, after all, when you meet a petite, short and sweet, they will think you're tall. Up is down, take is give, in is out, whisper, shout, there's no doubt, it's all relative. Who's to say what is or is not? Who writes your plot? You do.
Everything's relative. Everything's relative.
Quite.
Everything's relative. Everything's relative.
Right. Every point of view is
Yeah.
simply up to you. Is
Yeah.
how your dreams come true is
Yeah.
as real as by you. This is that. These are those. What is real? What's ideal? What to feel?